and Verrett, and I'm the expert advisor. My goal is to help as many agents as possible to be successful to win at selling real estate, whether you're working with buyers as a specialty or working with listings as a specialty. In this market, guys, he who controls the listings control the market. So if I would say anything to you to give you inspiration, it is to go forward and market. Would you mind muting yourself? If your mic is unmuted, go ahead and unmute yourself. Background noise there. Okay, thank you very much. And if you have the thick skin and you have a database, then I would really encourage you in this market to work your database, your sphere of influence. And we know for a fact that every 200 people in your database can give you 12 referrals a year. The statistics is just there. That means that we need to have at least 200 people in our database that we're working with in the area of asking for referrals. And I always encourage everyone that's working with referrals to ask at a 45-degree angle. Don't ask directly at a 45-degree angle. And we know this here. And I got this coin. I didn't originate this video. It was coined from Gary Keller. It was, by the way, who do you know? Everybody read the big red? By the way, who do you know? And I used that religiously with my real estate business because I always call in my clients or my sphere of influence. And I'm always asking about how they're doing. And it's an every 60-day check-in. So this is a nugget for you. Every 60 days check in and just say, by the way, who do you know? And you'll be surprised at how many people that you already know are willing to help you grow your business. And don't stop calling. Get your goals in place. Make sure that you have the things necessary for you to win in this business. And that's what this real estate selling power is all about. Now, this program that I'm doing is not brand new. It's been around for over 30 years. Daniel Penley, he created this here from a successful sales report. And early in his business, he was understanding that scripting was important. Knowing what to say and having systems important was very important. So this selling power system will help you to be more encouraged when you get in front of sellers and to be able to win them as clients. And the only way that's going to happen, guys, is that you're going to do your homework. You have to get into personal development because simply our success requires an unshakable real belief in ourselves with a repeatable system. If you engage with this system, if you really learn the scripts, if you really follow the steps. Now, remember, this is going to be customized for your personality. But the nuts and bolts and the foundation of this here should never be changed. The scripts should never be changed. The system should never be changed. But how you deliver it can change because your personality is different from mine, different from Daniel's, different from everyone that's on this line. But I would say to you is that if you take this system and you embrace this system, I can almost guarantee you that you're going to have success in your real estate career and in your business. But again, a system is repeatable. It means that you don't have to say, well, what I'm going to do today. Every day you're doing the same thing, the same way, the same system that you're implying every day. If you do it, then you're going to get better and better and better. Just like riding a bike. You start riding a bike and the first day, you realize that, not that good. You're shaking, you fall off a little bit. The same thing with the listing presentations. You're not going to be as good as you are going to be tomorrow, today. But if you're willing to fail forward, continue practicing your craft, continue doing the things that's necessary to win the client. And that is being repeatable and having a confidence that's unshakable because you have did your homework, you've studied your scripts, you've rehearsed, and when you get in front of that seller, you're always giving 110% of who you are. And that would right there, I believe, is the key to success for any one of us in this business. Would you guys agree?
Agree.
Yeah. So we've been going through the 4 C's, and this is the 4 C's of the concepts. We know what it is: concept, content, context, and customization. If we use these 4 principles in every aspect of our presentation, we'll be more effective when we communicate with the seller. We won't be stumbling over our words. We won't be having this uneasiness in the things that we're saying, being unsure, because the seller can tell when you're weak. The seller can tell when you're not confident in what you're doing. They can tell if you're a little nervous. They can tell if you seem like a newbie. Even though we've been in the business for 20 years, we still acting nervous when it comes to get in front of a seller. That should never be if we truly are working our craft and skilled at our craftsmanship. So one thing I would say, the customization gave us 7 points, and we covered these here right now. They're basically, we're at the entry. We covered that. How to qualify the seller, not financially, but emotionally. How to use a sharp angle when we get in to get ourselves in position to ask for the close. How to solve the problem of the seller. And we know there's a problem with selling real estate with all sellers. And it's picking the wrong agent, price the property wrong, marketing, and all kinds of things can go wrong with the possible sale of an owner's property. But by us being real estate professionals, we'll help them avoid all of the pitfalls and all of the headaches and all of the tragedies that can happen with selling real estate because we are experts at what we do. We understand when we spoke about the solution, and that's what we was dealing with the seller's presentation. Daniel finished that up last week. The solution, and in the solution was our presentation. In the solution was our marketing plan. In the solution was how we're going to be able to get them the highest price and the quickest, most convenient time. Now, all them things are fine and dandy. We can do a great job presenting, but if we don't get the signature or get the contract, did we really win? And the answer is no. Our whole goal is to get the seller or the buyer to commit with us in writing contract. Because we know, and we heard this phrase before, buyers are liars, okay? Well, sellers are too. I just said sellers are too. Oh, yeah, I'll use you. Oh, I'll call you back. And oh, I'll get back with you. And they never do. So what we're going to do is we're going to have such a compelling listing presentation. We're going to be able to close them. We're going to be able to answer all their questions, isolate the objections, and get the signature. In fact, we're not going to leave their home until they give us the signature and hire us as their agent, or they take and run us out the house, one of the two, because we're going to always be closing. So now we're going to speak about today. We're going to just cover a small bit of what Daniel spoke about last week. We're going to speak about how to get the signature. Because I'm going to say, guys, activity is great, but activities without results are fruitless. I mean, it makes people quit. So I want us to make sure that we always have activity that's driving us to results, whether we are prospecting in the morning, making our phone calls, whether we are following up on our leads from our marketing, whether we are cold calling for new listings that's out there. In fact, as Mike and I was just mentioning, if you're in this market, you know there's a tight market in the area of homes that's available. Is very competitive, and that competitiveness is causing us to right now pricing ourselves out of the market because sellers really believe, and in fact, I was speaking with 3 sellers today, and they're like, I want $1 million for my home. I said, well, what makes you think your property is worth $1 million? Well, there's not that many houses on the market, house worth $600,000, right? There's not that many houses on the market, and I believe I can get $1 million. I say, that could be true. That's what you want. And I hate to be the one to disagree with you, but what would make a buyer buy your home for $1 million? Because you don't have that many homes. I said, okay. But a buyer can afford a $600,000 house, but they'll give you $1 million for it because there's not that many homes. Would it be more advantageous for them to wait until the market change or more homes come to the market or spend $400,000 more than a lender is willing to loan them to finance the home? And as you know, all homes must appraise. But the seller wouldn't have it. He wouldn't even listen to it. I'm going to take it $1 million and say, well, okay. Them the guys that you have to refuse not to work with. Because if you take $1 million home worth $600,000 for $1 million, you're going to end up with a whole lot of headache and an unrealistic seller. Anybody had any problems like that before with a client where you took the listing, you just wanted to take it, and you knew the house was overpriced, and then you had to fight with the seller every week to get the price reduced down to the level where it would actually sell? Anybody ever experienced that? I have. Early in my career, I have. And it was the worst deal I've ever had. And then the seller ended up expiring, and they tell me it's my fault. but they won't listen to my professional advice. So what we're going to do as professional real estate agents, that's part of the real estate selling power system, we're going to educate and give information, give statistics, share data to falling out the seller's ears so they say, I understand now. I want to make the decision, because most sellers make poor choices when they don't have enough information. Would you guys agree? And if we use our systems that we have, I believe that we're going to get more listings. We're going to get more buyers. We're going to close more deals than we ever did before, if we're willing to walk away from the unrealistic seller. Oh, Kelvin, what did you say? Walk away from the unrealistic buyer. What does that mean? If you spend all of your time nursing one deal that's unrealistic, that probably would never close because of the buyer or the seller being unrealistic, you miss 25 other buyers or sellers that want to work with you that will be realistic and sell or buy a home through you. Would you guys agree?
Yes, absolutely.
So if you understand how to connect with the seller, know how to go through the steps with the system that you've already developed, then your effectiveness will go up, your productivity will go up, your closing ratios will go up. Even though you walked away or you refused to work with 1 or 2, 3 or 4 buyers or sellers that was unrealistic and not willing to commit to you. In fact, I had one today. The seller says, "Oh yeah, I wanna sell my home, but just bring me an offer." I said, "Well, bring you an offer. Okay, I can do that." I said, "But if I bring you an offer, would you be willing to work with accept an offer from my client, my company?" He said, "Sure, I would." I said, "Great. So let us go ahead and meet so I can show you my marketing strategy on how I can get a buyer for your home and get you more money in a quicker time frame. Would that work for you?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Great. Well, let's set an appointment." "Well, no, I don't want to set no appointment. I want you to come to my house. I just want you to submit an offer." I said, "Well, let me ask a question of you. If you had a 1965 Corvette, that monster car that was out there, and you were selling it online, and you say, 'Hey, I got this wonderful car for sale,' and somebody see a picture of it or hear you speaking about it, what's the first thing that buyer going to want to do? They're going to want to come in, take a look at the car, sit in it, drive it around, test drive it, and see what it feels, and look up under the hood, check it out, and then they would be willing to make a deal with you to purchase the home. Would you agree?" I said, "Would you buy that home or that car online, sight unseen, just by the picture or just what somebody had said to you about it?" "No, I wouldn't." I said, "Well, the same way a buyer will feel while purchasing your home. They'll want to come in to take a look at the homes, inspect the home to see what kind of defects that it may have in it." Because, you ever bought a car and it was a lemon? And you bought it, looks really good, sound good, but as soon as you got the driveway and started driving, then something started knocking, then it started spitting out oil, but in the driveway it looked pretty good. Well, the same with your house. The buyer is going to want to check your home out. Would you agree? Yeah. So what's the best way for the buyer to do that? For them to come in and take a look at your home. But in order for me to do that, I must be assured that you're going to cooperate with me in the area of compensation, in the area of commissions, because I work for commissions. Are you willing to pay me a commission? Great. Well, can I get that in writing? "No, I don't want to sign nothing." I said, "Well, I guess I can't." I mean, this is true conversation. This is all just on the phone prospecting. I'm like, well, I got to agree not to even try to bring a buyer to you, because if you're serious about buying your home, you have no problem with commitment. I said, when you go to the doctor and the first thing you do is you fill out that form, you say, "With my insurance, I'm committed to pay." You go to the dentist, you commit to pay. You go to get your car repaired. But in this area here, you were not willing to commit to me that's going to provide a service for you, then I can't agree to work with you. Same as a doctor or a lawyer will tell you they can't represent you. Would you agree? He said, "Yeah, I would, but I'm not signing nothing." I said, "Well, great, I guess. Do you know?" I said, "Well, do you know anyone else that may be looking to buy and sell a home?" And I had to let him go. And I say that jokingly, but these are kind of conversations that we're experiencing in the market. And we have to be ready, guys, to have these conversations with the seller and be willing to say no if it's necessary to get you clients that was really motivated that want to sell their property. Would you guys agree? So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about getting a signature. And the signature is the commitment, not verbal. You know how many people you know that has been in contracts, well, not as much today, but they have the handshake contract or the verbal agreement, and then the partner changes their mind. Well, that'll happen to you in real estate. That's why we work with contracts. How many of you guys online right now are willing to work without a contract in today's market? Raise your hands. I don't see no hands, right? Oh, you'll work without a contract, Marshall? Oh, no, you won't. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Because no, we won't work without a contract. We will work only with contracts because a contract is enforceable. Word of mouth is not enforceable. Now, you can sometimes get a gentleman's agreement and some things will lead up to being enforceable. But in real estate, guys, it won't work for you. You're doing a referral, get it in writing. You're doing a sales contract, get it in writing. You're bringing a buyer, don't let the seller, and I've heard this before, will go in the round. You bring the buyer and say, oh, well, we don't need your service. He and the buyer exchange phone numbers, and the buyer believe they're going to get a better deal by working directly with the seller. The seller believes he don't pay you commission, and you put the deal together, and you can't do nothing about it. That's why you would never bring a buyer to a seller's home and bring them together, and they exchange information, and you want to procure the deal, but you don't get paid. So that's my thing right there. So let's talk about getting the commitment from the seller. I think that right there is vitally important for us in this stage of the game. Getting the commitment from the seller. All right, how many of you guys right now may be experiencing challenges with the sellers wanting to sign your contracts? Okay, got one. Okay. Anybody else experiencing trouble with the sellers being reluctant to sign your contracts? Nobody? Marshall? Okay. What about you, Mike? Are you sellers signing with you? Garcella? All of them? Well, Mike, you might have to have you do this class because if all your sellers signing, I want to know what you're saying. How much money you're paying them, or how is that working? Because I know that my sellers, they'll sign, but a lot of them have concerns, especially if it's not a warm market. Meaning, if it's a referral or sphere of influence, it's a lot easier to get them signed. But when you're marketing and calling people that you're actually prospecting, they don't know you, so they only know what you tell them. So if your compelling argument is not so compelling, then they won't sign. Would you guys agree? Okay, all right. I agree with that one for sure. So let's talk about getting the signature. And this is all scripted. I'm going to pick up in the book. Now, you guys have the book, and we're going to be starting on page number 37. I'm going to go across the last part of the marketing strategy and page 37 in the workbook. And we're going to be on technique number 67, the commitment first. And that's what we're going to speak about, commitment first. So there's 7 phases of your action plan. Now, if you don't have this document, you should have it. You should have your marketing strategy already laid out before the seller so that they'll go through. And this here portion of the contract, I think, is the closing is very important because the 7 phases of your contract or your marketing strategy has a place for the seller to sign or initial each phase in your marketing strategy plan. Each signature is a micro commitment for them to hire you. So if you can get the small commitments up front, when you ask for the close of the big commitment on the contract, it'll be a lot easier for you. So what you're doing is you're getting them to emotionally connect with you, agreeing with your strategy and your plan. And if they love your strategy and your plan to get the property sold, then the chance of them saying, I will hire you to do what I already agree with you said you can do. And then you will find yourself being in position to take another listing, be like Mike, walk in the door and get everybody to sign. we 7 for 7, or Daniel 50 for 50, but he didn't speak about the 400 that he did not get, but 50 for 50 with the FISBOs. He also speak about their record there. But this is the thing that you want them to do is agree with you early on, and that is your 7-phase marketing plan. Daniel covered this last week. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but it basically talks about us to get the commitment first. And you would tell them during the first 5 days, I will. During the next 10 days, I will. Next 21 days, I will. 30 days, 45 days, and I will, I will, I will. Each section requires a signature from the buyer, the seller. And each section is a micro agreement with you in your strategy to sell their property. This is what makes it really good for you. Now, guys, if you can't see it really good, just put me on speaker view and it will be a bigger picture for you, okay? A bigger picture for you on speaker view. And you can just take and pin me to the top and you would have the big side of the screen and you can see it a little bit clearer. Hopefully that'll help you guys. Okay? All right. So the micro commitments are key, important to you guys. And let's look at the first one. It is the commitment. Okay? Important. This is your system. This is your marketing strategy. The most important thing that you're going to do when you get in front of the seller is to have a plan on how you're going to sell their home. This is my systematic, proven, strategic marketing plan that sells homes. And my sellers is currently in this market is averaging 10 to 12% above market value because of this strategic plan. Can you see how that will benefit you to net more at the sell of your home, Mr. Seller? And yeah, I can see that. Then I will go through the marketing plan and I will just give them the 7 phases. And each one of them, I'll make sure that I always give them the benefit of why it's going to work for them, have them to review it, have them to sign it, because I want to make sure that I have all of the micro agreements to get the commitment from them to sign my listing contract. Now, when you're doing this here, make sure, guys, that at any phase of your marketing strategy and you ask the questions, don't hesitate to go back to your number 42, technique number 42. And that is, other than that, is there any other reasons why you wouldn't list with me today? And if they say no, then close. You don't have to do all 100 slides to get them into contract. Only go as far as necessary. What had happened to us is that sometimes we get so nervous in the listing presentations, we'll keep going because we don't know when to close, or we're not sure about closing. We can't read the body language of the seller. Remember, in our customization, we got the seller to line up with us. They're leaning forward, we're leaning forward. They're leaning back, we're leaning back. We emotionally qualified with them already. We understood their problem. We're working on a solution, and we get the signature. So when we do this correctly, this systematic approach to selling real estate will be your bread and butter for the future to come. It will assure you will get 7 or 8 out of 10 of your listing appointments if you do it correctly and don't shortcut it. Personalize it, but don't change it. This is what's going to work for you. It's working for countless other agents. And I will say to you is that don't hesitate. Don't hesitate. Do what you have to do. Now remember one thing, commitment before going to work. Commitment before going to work. Sometimes we'll get there, we're so anxious to do it, we will go through and we will we'll start pulling out CMAs and showing them the numbers and doing things. And that right there will cause us to falter in the process and sometimes sabotage our closing. So don't be nervous. Don't skip ahead. Stay in the system, but always be closing. If I could, would you? Other than that, would there be another reason why you wouldn't list with me today? Them 2 things that you're always doing throughout your whole dialogue with the seller. Be sure you have a plethora of stories to tell within the system of closing the seller, because when you're at the point of getting the signature, you've really already shared everything that you can do. You shared your personality, your history, the things that you've done. You've shown them your marketing system. Now it's time to close, and you can't get nervous right here. You have to know that you have this listing, that you've done everything as a professional real estate agent that you can do, and the buyers or the sellers are right now in agreement with you, and they're ready to hire you as their agent because you're the best agent on this side of the West Coast. You're the best agent in California because of your systems and your preparedness to do the job for them. So 2 things I want you to remember here. is to make sure that you have them agree or disagree with every area of your marketing strategy plan. Your 7 phases, how do you know they agree or disagree? They're going to draw a line through things they don't want you to do. They're going to sign each page that you spoke about, your first 5, first 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 days into your plan. And each page they're going to sign it. When they sign it, they're agreeing with you, micro agreements, okay? Go through your list, get them to agree, and know what they are. Because once you get to emotionally qualify with them and get them agreeing with you, it's going to be easy to get them to sign the contract, okay? Get the commitment. And your job, guys, is this here, is to agree with them no matter what they say. Wait a minute, Kelvin, what did you say? Agree with them no matter what they say. They say, I want $5 million for the house. Other than that, is the only reason why you wouldn't listen with me today. Remember, you're looking for the commitment because you didn't go to work yet. Remember, a lot of agents will go to work and they will start putting out CMAs and everything else, selling get everything they want, and they walk away. And they don't get the listing. So agree with them. There's no other reason for them to reject it, because sometimes, and I do it, I'm guilty, I would start disagreeing with the seller because what they're saying makes no sense. How many of you guys have been speaking with sellers and it didn't make sense? And you got to say, you got to come to realization here. You have to come back to planet Earth because it just don't work that way. And you actually blow the transaction. So I'm gonna speak with the seller meaning, oh yeah, oh yes, oh yes. Other than that, and I'm going to why? Because I want the commitment. I want the signature on the contract. Okay? What's your job? Is to agree with them. What's their job? Is to get like everything that you're gonna do for them so you can get them in a position to sign your contract. Get their commitment, sign, and your job is to agree with them. Now, does that mean you're going to work for them? No, it doesn't. Because you have to go back and do your comparative market analysis. You have to flood them with information to set a realistic price on their property. So you don't really have the job until you have the contract. Yeah, someone had to say something?
I was going to ask you a question. So how do you overcome that initial agreement? So when you're agreeing with everything that they've said, then how do you then go back to them when you're trying to get them to be realistic? So we already know that they're not realistic at the beginning because what we've done as a sales technique is refuse to argue with them in order to get the signature.
Great.
So we know that they're unrealistic, but in order to get the signature, we're not going to tell them that they're unrealistic. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, and then when we get the signature and we begin to really get to what we call the brass tacks, then how do you still get them to become realistic when we knew starting out, that they were unrealistic?
Very good question. Very good question. So everybody got with that. How do you get them to come to planet Earth when they was on Mars? This is what you're going to do. You're not going to work for them until you get the commitment. Once they give you the commitment, now you go to work, and your job at that point is to do what? Educate them. So your next interview with them is going to be your pricing presentation, and that's where you do the education at. This is where you show them the facts, and you show them the things that's happening in the market, how the home next door sold, the one down the street sold, how many went out of escrow, how many fell out of escrow, expired, how many were withdrawn, and this is where you flood them with the information that you promised them. And this is part of your technique. So I'm never worried about them not being realistic at this point. I'm more concerned with them committing to me so that I can educate them and I will become the agent they hire. Because truly, the commitment is really to get me back to the table to educate them. The commitment is not that I'm going to go to work with them. So we're going to cover that in the next, and that's a good question, Amir. That's going to be in our next couple of slides that we're going to do. How do we get them to come to planet Earth after this here commitment is done? So my job is to get them to agree, right? And then every time they're agreeing, just remember here, they're agreeing to hire you. So all I want to do is get hired. So let's go now. We're going to migrate over to the portion where we're going to get the signature. Right now, we're going to work for getting the signature from the seller. And here it is right here. Even if they want to pay you 0% commission, overprice the home by $100,000, what do you do at that point? You get them, okay, skip another portion of the slide there. It is to isolate. Okay, once they overprice the home, they don't give me 0% commission. This is key, guys. You say, other than that, is there any other reason why you'd hesitate to list with me now? And they say, no, you take 3%. Now, I never said I'm going to take 3% commission. I want them to commit to me. There's a strategy behind this here. Your listing presentation your listing contract should never have a price in it or commissions. It should be blank. You have all the data in it, but the commission and the sales price is blank because you haven't set a sales price for the home. They're going to set the sales price. You haven't set commissions. In fact, you haven't even spoke about commissions. They're going to talk about commissions. But you're not going to commit to accepting. Who is committing? They're committing. You're not committing at this point. What you're committed to do is go back and go to work for them, being that they committed to you to get the information needed for them to make a necessary or intelligent decision on selling their home. This is why you're going to walk away with more commitments than you would if you would sit there and fight with the seller about commissions and price, because it's irrelevant about what they want to sell a home for, because the home will only sell for what a buyer's willing to pay in this market. Would you guys agree? And commissions right now is irrelevant because you haven't even decided to go to work for them yet, because you may decide that you don't want to work with them at this point. But to get there, I must get the commitment. Then I'm going to go to work. Now I'm going to my office, which I already have my CMA done. I have all the things done already, but I'm going to go to my office, get the information, come back with them. And there's some tools that you're going to have with you. And this is where you're going to have your closing bridge. And let's go through a couple of rejections that you may get when you get ready to ask the seller for the signatures, okay? So these are some things that I think that this part of the action plan, I think that's going to be very important. So one of the things I would say to you is this here. The closing bridge. Now, this is closing bridge number 68. You got to use part 1 and part 2 in this portion here. Now, what things that you got to have with you, and you got to be ready for this here, guys. Never have your CMA for that property with you. You want to make sure that you have a CMA sample of the information that you're going to send with them. And now it is so easy to do, guys. You can have your CMA created through the Southland has a paid portal you can use. You can use this one I'm using called NRPR reports. You can do them in there. They're really good, very intense, about 80 pages, and they're good information. But use a sample of any property in USA of what they would get, but never show them their property. Okay? You will blow your deal because you'll be there at the table and they have the stack of CMAs from other agents that's there sitting on the table, and yours go right in that pile. Before they see anything that you can do for them in your superpower of pricing their home, they'll have to commit to you before you go to work. That's the system. Now, you may have trouble with that, guys, but it's okay. But if you try these two techniques, I think it will work really well for you. And here it is. It's called a closing bridge. Now, they come through and say, what do you feel comfortable listing your home for? They say, I want $1 million. Now, you know the property is only worth $900,000. So what are you going to do? And they say, well, $1 million. I say, great. So I'll take your listing at any price that you feel comfortable with. What do you would like to list your home at, Mr. Seller? They'll tell you $1 million. You take and you pull your little listing agreement out and you write $1 million in there. Now, is that the listing price of the home? No. When they put the $1 million in there, you're going to have them initial that in price. You're not going to initial it. They're going to initial it. Okay? This is what making them feel comfortable. That means that my job is to agree with them. I want to have my success rate of walking out with the signature a lot better than it would be if I didn't have the signature. Okay? Now, this is very important, guys. We have to make sure we use this along with part 2. That's technique number 69. Okay, so here it is. The 60 part 2 of 68 basically says that I'll take your listing at any price you feel comfortable with. Once they just commit, they're comfortable with the price, then you say, other than that, any other reasons why you wouldn't list with me today? Great. Put the price in, initial that, get the signature, and go to your office. Okay, I will go back to my office and prepare an extensive current market analysis, detailed market analysis of your property. And what that's going to do is going to allow me to flood you when I return with information to make a decision and for you to select the best price. And hear this, guys. Who select the best price? The seller, not the agent. You know the suggested price of the home should sell for. You've done the market analysis. You know these things. But you see, the worst thing you can do is pick the price of the home and the home don't sell, or their friend or their expert realtor down the street that don't have a listing come back and say, oh, your home is priced at the wrong price. I could have got you more money. And then the seller starts to questioning your ability to get the jobs done because they're greedy. They want as much money as they can. Most agents buy listings, correct? They'll market any price they want to buy the listing and then beat you down to reduce the price later on. But if you do a proper job of educating the seller, then the seller, when that side street real estate professional or that cousin that only sold one house or bought one house in their lifetime start to challenge the price, the seller says, well, I did my research. I've checked the market. I've saw the home that sold, fell out of the market, and this is the best price for my home. I know it is, and they're 100% comfortable because you flooded them with the research. You've shown all the homes that expired, those that have been on the market for a really long time, those that had several price reductions and then finally sold. That is your job. When they hire you by committing, your job is to make sure that you flood. When I say flood, not with a one-pager, 3 houses on and say this is what you should sell it at. No, you want to educate them because the worst thing could happen, the seller calls you up the next day and says, I want to cancel the contract because I believe I can get more for my home. Have that ever happened to you guys before? It happened to me. It happened to me. They want to cancel, and I know the home is priced right, but the agent came down the street, ABC Real Estate, and said that, I can get you more money. And the seller, no facts behind it, I can get you $50,000 more. They're just greedy. They are. They're just greedy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I flood them with enough information, all the statistical data I can come up with until they say, okay, I know what I want to list the home for. And you're going to guide them into the price. No doubt you are. And if they're making a bad decision, you're going to give them more information until you give them so much information, they're going to zero in on the price they should price the home at. Now, we know 3% above market value, above the current list price, the last thing sold is a great spot, a Goldilocks zone for the home. You run a real fast sell, 3% below the last thing that sold will sell really quick. We know paying more commission to the selling agent, it gets you a real quick sell. We know these techniques that work. So we're going to guide them into that 3% range. What they should price it at, and the seller should choose anything within that 3% above or 3% below, Goldilocks zone, take the listing, shut up, don't say nothing else, agree, get your contract consummated with the correct price in it, and start marketing the home. So you know what you're looking at for already, 3%. So you tell them, I'm getting enough information to make a decision, select the price. If we agree, here it is, Amir, if we agree, at that time, I will go to work for you. When do you go to work? When you set the price and you agree upon commissions.
After you agree.
Right. I never went to work yet. I did not agree to the price. They did. I got the commitment for them to hire me as their agent. And then I have to be sure that I'm okay with the fact that I just may not work with them. Next step in 69, this is part 2. These 69, part 1 and part 2 must be done together. 68, 69 must be done together. Okay? This is where your loophole is at. He said, if we don't agree on price, if not, I want to ask you to do me a favor, Mike. Would you let me out the listing agreement? Do you agree to let me out of the agreement if we cannot agree on price? And I'm like this here. Seller gonna say, sure. If we don't agree on price, I'm gonna want to fire you. I don't want, but I'm not hired yet, right? I got the commitment, but I'm not hired yet. We gotta agree on price before I say I have the listing. So if we get the price in the Goldilocks zone, 3%, we good. Now let's face it, it could be 4%. It could be marginal for you, but you have to make a really professional decision because you're the expert in the room. And your expertise shows when you can help guide that seller into a reasonable or intelligent pricing scenario with a marketing strategy that you have that's stellar, that's going to get the home sold in 7 days or 14 days, no more than 21 days for sure. Because if you follow the system, it's going to work for you. In this market, it'll probably be 1 day if you price it right. Excuse me. So at that point, they say, sure, I'll let you out the contract. Say nothing else. You reach over to your bag, you pull out the contract, you take your pen out and the contract, and you put the price in, and you say at the price, and you look at them and ask them the question. Here it is. I should jump ahead. So you ask them a question about the price. I'll leave it there. You get the price right about the price, and you write it in and have them initial it. You didn't agree to the price. That's their price that they want. The price you're going to agree with when you come back. Fair enough? They put $100,000 over market value. That's okay. It's not the price. When I flood them with information, they're going to make a better decision. Because most of it is based on what? Emotions. It's based on what their friend told them. Based on what they think they can get because the market's so hot. But it's not realistic. When you start speaking about the pricing presentation and how the lender has to do an appraisal, have to have a field review. Why would a buyer pay $400,000 more than the property is worth? What makes their home worth more? You take the $100 bill, test out, the down you showed you, have one nice and crispy, one balled up and stumped on, and then which one is worth more. These are all the techniques that we have, right? So we're going to do all these things with them, and then they're going to say, you know what? That makes sense. That makes sense. So we're going to, then now let's say that they had a problem with the price. This may happen to you. You pull it out, you ask the seller, what do you think you feel comfortable listing your home for? And they say, I don't know. Have you ever had that before? And they tell you, what do you think it should sell for? And they want you to give them a price. Anybody had that challenge? But the seller tell you, I want you to price the home for me. Tell me what it's worth. Would that be a mistake for you to tell them? And now, and before this training, I would say, no, I know exactly what it should sell for. But what can happen? Unmute yourself now. What can happen, guys, if you tell them the price of the home that it should sell for, and what all the things could happen?
It doesn't sell for that price.
Doesn't sell for that price. Okay, that's one. That's good.
It sells above that price.
That's
That ain't a problem.
That's even better.
They see you were wrong.
Okay.
No, because you know what? I always educate my buyers and tell them that, well, I don't know if this is right or not, but I usually tell my sellers that your house is worth what a buyer is willing to pay for it. So that covers me if it goes above that. Is that the right way to deal with that, Calvin?
Yeah, it is. It's what the buyer's willing to pay for it in this current market. That's correct. That's the only thing it's worth, or what it would appraise for in this current market is being financed. Because some buyers are paying cash; they'll pay overvalue. But go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
I've been in a situation where they're looking at you to guide them, and I totally understand what you're saying, but it gets to the point like, well, you're the expert. You should be able to help me with this question. Why aren't you telling me what I should list my house for?
Okay. Now, when do you tell them or help them with their deciding value what the home should list for? At first meeting or after they committed to you?
When you would do, I guess, when you come in with the CMA.
Correct. And then you become the expert because now you're flooding them with the information that's necessary to give a right price for the home. So at the beginning, all I want is the commitment. And we got to rest in this here, guys, because I've been there and where I wasn't comfortable until I had everything done. But this is a two-part phase that's going to help you secure more signed contracts. I'm going to agree with you no matter what you say to get you committed to me. Stop interviewing agents. And when I come back, I'm going to help educate you so you can make a great decision on what to price your home at. If you pick the wrong price, let's say that you say, all right, you pick the right price. The home is worth $900,000. I think I can get your home sold for $900,000, which is a realistic thing because you've done the homework. But the agent come behind you because you don't have the commitment, and the agent says, well, you know what, I can get you $950,000. Who is the seller going to hire?
950.
You just lost your opportunity. So your thing is not to tell them. Not that you're keeping secrets, but they haven't hired you to do the work. See, your skill set is worth money. So for them to get that information, they got to hire you because you don't work for free, right? Say, yeah, that's right. I'm not going to work for free. I'm not going to give you information. I'm going to show you what I can do for you if you hire me. Mechanic said, I can fix your car if you sign the contract and then I'll go get the parts. I'll do all the work. You come back and you pay me. The lawyer says, I'll take it. Give me a retainer. But nobody, no profession goes to work without a commitment. Not even a real estate agent. And guys, there are some agents out there because they're not trained. They're working backwards. A lot of frustrated agents are out there quitting the business because they're doing it wrong. But you guys are being trained on how to do it right. If you trust the system and use the process and do it continuously, you're going to find out that your confidence level is going to be much higher. You're going to secure more listings. You're going to be working with more buyers in the contract than you've ever done before because you know how to narrow your focus. You know how to narrow your vision. You're not trying to work with everybody. You're trying to work with the people that want to work with you that's going to be realistic to buy a home and not just say I'm working with 25 buyers and nobody want to write an offer at the right price. There are a lot of frustrated agents out there today, guys, and we don't have to be. We're going to spend our time with the people that's motivated, that wants to buy or sell real estate. So don't be afraid not to tell them what they want because you're not like the other agents. And you got to say, look, I'm a top 1%er. And the other agents do it this way because, and they don't, I put it this way here. If a person needed a heart transplant, and there's this doctor down the street here just got his license and he's doing heart transplants for $150,000. But then right on the next corner, there's another surgeon that's been doing it for 20 years, and he charges $500,000 for his heart transplants, but his success rate is at 95% success rate. But the new doctor haven't done many heart transplants. In fact, he got a 50-50 success rate. Which surgeon are you going to hire?
500,000.
Absolutely, because I want to live. Same with a seller. Which agent are you going to hire? Someone with a proven strategy or someone that just got their license and say they can get you more money, but it hasn't been proven yet? My clients, and then you pull out your testimony, my client, but you should have your seller's guide, all of your testimonials in it. My client, and how many homes you sold, things that people already said about you. And then that's what your credibility is going to rest on, not on over-promising and under-delivering, but actually promising and delivering. So in this case here, the seller said they don't know what it's going to be. They don't want to set a price. They want you to tell them. But you said, what I'm going to do is once you commit to hiring me as your agent, I'm going to go get the information. We're going to come back and help you do a pricing scenario for you. And this is where you guys are put it together. Now, this is where Daniel would say that when you finish your marketing strategy, you would go forward and you would put together your marketing video, your seller's video. And one of the things that we use with our PowerPoint presentation is the videos. So I did mine, and I'm going to play my video for you guys today and see what it looks like. Because once you finish your marketing strategy, or you can do it prior to your marketing strategy, you can use this here video to help it. And I'm going to put this on for you guys, and it should play okay. This is my seller's video. And this tells them about your marketing strategy. 2-point, PowerPoint, as I needed, but the video will do the whole PowerPoint presentation for the seller's presentation, all the things that we're covering here, and then you just close with handling any concerns that they may have to stop you from listening. So let's take a look at this. Hi, my name is Kelvin Verrett. Selecting the right realtor is vitally important to the success of selling your property. As a top 1% agent, I have learned understanding the problem of selling property is 95% of the solution. Many sellers think they should list their property with the agent who bids the highest and actually purchase the listings. However, that is not the best way to sell your property. You should list your property with the agent that gives you the most effort with the best results. Let's take a look at how my comprehensive marketing plan will sell your property. You have two important decisions to make when you put your home on today's market. First, who will market your property? Second, deciding the highest price your property will actually sell for. As an experienced real estate professional, I have the knowledge, tools, and technology to help you establish the best asking price for your property. After you accept my marketing plan and agree to list your property with me, I will prepare a detailed current market analysis on your property. In order to compete successfully with other properties in the market, the appearance of your property is extremely important. Teamwork makes the dream work. I believe the best way to sell your property is to work together with my team of professionals and you to successfully sell your property. I guarantee no one will work harder and more professionally to get your home sold for the highest price in the quickest, most convenient time frame. In fact, if I do not do everything I promised in my written plan of action, you may have your listing back. That's why I guarantee no one is more dedicated and committed to selling your property than my team and I. Now,
I like the new changes they made to the video, Calvin. It's nice.
yeah, thank
Mine
you.
needs to be updated.
Is that how mine's gonna look?
No, that's actually, is yours gonna look, it's just as good as that. It's different though, that's all. It's gonna be a little different.
So you had yours different than what the rest of ours is gonna look like?
Yes, mine's a little different.
Okay.
But
You got the virtual people in the back. You got the little thing saying new listing. I saw quite a few things that were different in them that I liked.
yeah, okay. But thank you guys. Mike, you had a question, so your hand up. Okay, you're good. And so when you having the challenges with the seller, when they see your video, they see your marketing strategy with your PowerPoint slides, this sets you above the rest. The average agent is not coming through prepared and not willing to stay there and be professional through it and not work out of the area of fear when it comes to the seller listing or committing to them. So let's say we're in a situation where we have the seller, we done played our video, we run through our slides, and now we showed the marketing plan. They agreed because they signed every aspect. They crossed out within the query to sign out. Now I've agreed with them all the way through. Now it's time to get the commitment. And have you had this situation where the seller says, I'm not comfortable signing anything right now? They don't give you the price, they're not comfortable signing. Okay, what do you do at that point?
You keep going through your scripts.
You keep going to your scripts. And what we go back to, other than that, we're going to isolate what the objection is, right? Every time you have an objection, you want to isolate the objection, handle it, and then go back to your close. So remember, don't forget to isolate every objection. Don't go past it, isolate it. And how you do that? Other than that, is there any other reason you would hesitate to list with me? And there you go. They said, no, that's it. Now, what if they're not comfortable signing something? What you would do? You can do a couple of things, and we're gonna go through it. You can leave it blank, but you want the commitment. When I come back with the information, we'll then decide on price. I'm gonna flood you with information so you can make an informed decision. Well, tell me what you think my home is worth. I said, great, I can appreciate that, Michelle, I can appreciate that. But what I feel your home is worth is really, it doesn't have any substance to it because your home is only worth what the buyer will pay for in this current market. Wouldn't you agree? And they'll say, and you say, yeah, they say, yes, great. Other than that, is there any other reason why you would hesitate to list with me now? And they'll go right back to the close. They'll go right back to my script. No matter what they say, isolate and go right back to the script. So 3 things that you should have with you on all your presentations. You should have a sample, and I say a sample CMA, your plan of action, That is your 7th-phase marketing strategy and the contract. Now, this trick question here. Should your contract be filled out with a price and commissions in it? Nope. Why? Because you don't set the price, nor the commissions. Commissions are negotiable. Sellers are always leery about commissions. Now, you know and I know we're going to leave there with 6%. But when I get ready to educate them with my pricing and commission presentation, then we'll talk about commissions. So we have a pricing video that we'll have go along with them, educate them. Then we have the slide presentation, and we have our internalized scripting that's going to help them with all aspects of our marketing strategy. Can you see where that will benefit you?
Yes.
Okay, great. So they said leave it blank. Then let's go to another next scenario here. There's another you can do. These are all your alternate closes that you have here. You can fill it out completely. Okay, select the price as comfortable. Great. That means that I got the presentation, the contract out. I'm ready to sign. They don't feel comfortable. I got one for it. Leave it blank. Leave it with them. I can take it with me. Whatever it's necessary, but get the signature. Even if you have to leave the contract with them, have them sign it there because they've emotionally connected with you and they signed the signature. Chances are you're not hired either way it goes, but chances are that they will stick to meeting with you the second time and seeing what you have to offer because after all, you didn't give them what they wanted. They wanted the price. They wanted your market analysis. They want to see what you're going to say about their property, correct? But you didn't give it to them at this point. So here it is. This is technique 71. Select the price you're comfortable with. Okay, what price is that? Write it in. Let's go ahead and fill the price out in the paperwork. And that way you have something special to think about. The correct spelling of your first name is, start filling it out. I mean, you got the pen in your hand and you write it on the contract as if they've already agreed. I'm subliminally telling them that we're working together. The price, put it in place. Then the technique number 72, take it with me. I have a great idea. I'll take the signed listing with me now, and when I come back, and when I go back to my office and do the CMA, then when I come back to you, I'll give you enough information to make a decision on the best price. Now, if we don't agree on price, I'm going to ask you, Star, to let me out of the agreement. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay. So what do you feel comfortable on price? And we take you,
$750,000.
we write that price in $750,000. And we're not going to talk commission because commissions are not even established yet. If they bring it up, then what do you feel comfortable on commissions? And then have them initiate to how much?
4%.
4%. Let's go ahead and put 4% in there. Initial the commissions, initial the price. They sign the contract. I'm committed. They're committed. But I didn't commit to it. You understand? I say, I'm going to go back, get the information. And if we don't agree on price, then you're going to let me out the contract. Fair enough.
Yes, that's fair.
Take my hand, stick it out. In this days here, fist bump it. Have your gloves on and shake the firm handshake of commitment because that still means something today. Okay? So make sure that we be okay with that portion. Then the next one would be is to keep it. 2 techniques. You keep it, a word on that. Okay? Now, first you got to do is get them to agree with you. You want to get the commitment emotionally and physically. Okay? Because they signed the contract, you ask them to give you your word. Now, let's say they say they don't want to sign the contract, then you have to give me your word that you're going to meet with me, that you're hiring me. But whatever you want to leave there with the agreement. And word on that goes something like this here. Okay. Why you did not get the contract to take back with you, they committed, they kept the contract, or they didn't sign the contract. And if they signed it, because they gave you their word, they're really connected to you. Believe it or not, emotionally, they have committed. And there's something about that commitment of signing they feel obligated. Now, it doesn't guarantee you anything, but they're obligated. And that then the one thing you ask them to do, you say, they keep it or you keep it. They say, you keep it. If you're taking agreement with you, may I make this suggestion? Let's fill in the price. Let's fill out the agreement completely, sign it, and you keep it. Now, a lot of sellers would be comfortable with that because they're in control. They feel they're in control. They got the contract. You don't have it with you, so they know they can get out of it because they kept the contract. But you have made an emotional contract with them because they gave you your word. They shook hands on it. And then here's your words. If you feel as good about me tomorrow morning as you do right now, you can give me a copy when I return. That way I can get started right away. Does that sound fair enough? And they shaking your head yes. They say shake their head yes. You say fine, and you move to your next step. Can you see how that would work for you guys? So every objection the seller would have, don't want to sign it, don't want to pay commissions, price all out of the way. Did you disagree anywhere with them? No, I'm always moving through, and my goal is to get the commitment, hopefully physically, but emotionally, whatever that is, to get the commitment. My goal is to take the contract with me, but to get them to sign it, even if they have to keep it. Because after all, you can do like most agents do at the first objection, say, okay, then call me tomorrow and walk out the door. But you're going to stay there for the next 15 to 20 minutes, and you're going to handle every objection, isolate every objection, and get a yes behind it and move to the close. Other than that, is there anything that would have you hesitate from listing with me today or hiring me today? Always be closing. And then the last thing I'll say about that is the second thing here is that you don't really have to accept their word because they would not sign the contract or another agreement before return. Unlike other agents, you have not shown them your CMA. Hear that, right? You have not shown them your CMA. Most sellers select agents based on price, and they will wait to see what your price will be tomorrow. That's your power. That's your superpower. That's where you, as an agent, has stayed the course, and you have enough professionalism and confidence in your strategy that you're not going to show them the price or give them anything until they hire you and commit to you and you alone. Can you see that as a strong point for yourself? Okay. Take a look at 74 here. Word on that. This is your technique number 74, and that is found on your page number 40. Word on that. Look them. This is key, guys. Look them straight in the eyes. Grab their hand. Pre-COVID, but I have some sanitizer with you. So grab their hand, look them straight in the eye, and then give them a firm. And when you say, I'll return with the CMA, you will give me your commitment. Do I have your word on that? And you're shaking your head. Believe it, guys, it works. Most people always want to do the right thing, and they always pride themselves on their word. Most sellers will give you their word, and they will keep their word because they said it, and they will lose sleep at night saying, well, I gave them my word. I gave them my word. I have to do what I said because I gave my word. And people will not dishonor their word. Okay? Get the word. If you can't get the signatures, get their word on it. They keep the contract, get their word on it. They give it to you, you have their word. But the thing is that you're saying, if you feel good about me tomorrow, then when I meet with you, then we can go further, right? But the whole thing is get their word on it, isolate it. And the last thing we're going to cover would be 75. Isolate. If I say nothing to you today, if you get nothing out of this training today, isolate for your commitment. And this is do the Columbo style to isolate your objections. If after talking it over, thinking about it, seeing the CMA, whatever the objection may be, will you give me the listing? You look, Dad, you put it this way. I love it, Dad. He said, well, all right. After thinking it over, will you give me the listing? And the first one speaks, loses. So you got to be quiet and you have to listen. Be quiet and listen. After thinking it over, would you give me the listing? And if they decide that that point that you're the right agent, because they probably have, because you've given them your professional video, you show them your marketing strategy, you've done all the things there, and at this point here, they're ready to hire you as their agent. And your job, guys, your job is strictly this one thing. Your job is to get the commitment, to agree with them. Be prepared. Have your marketing strategy already in place, your 7-phase marketing strategy. Have your video, if you have one. If not, make one. Guys, listen, this video is not hard to make. You can get in front of a green screen and make a video. And I'm saying, get them professionally done, because it's always better. Mine, I didn't do mine professionally done. But you can make a video, but do the best that you can, what you have. Use your PowerPoint presentations. Rehearse your scripts, because the better you're prepared, and when I say systems, is repeatable, is duplicatable, and you do the same thing over and over. It's just like a muscle. If you keep doing it over and over again, it will be trained. And when it's trained, then you'll be able to close more effectively with the people that you're working with. So I'm going to stop here and open up the mic and see if we can answer some questions. Any questions right now, guys, that you want to ask right now?
Yes, I have a question.
Yes.
Can you just go over real quick on the pages that you mentioned from the pages 77, 61, 69, 70? I wrote it down, but I don't know if that's even
Okay, in the workbook, now you guys have your real estate selling guide, correct? If you have your guide, I started on page number 37 and I went through page 42. No, actually, I stopped on page 40. I stopped on page 40 at 75.
So
Technique
you
number
do
45.
37, 38, 39, and 40.
I didn't do it. No, I stopped. Next week, we're going to pick up on the page, technique number 76. We're going to be on page number 41, and we're going to close out chapter 8 next week. We're going to finish out chapter 8
No, but
next
what
week.
I'm saying, on the process of getting the commitment, you said to start with page 37 to 40.
Yeah, the commitment would start on page 38, chapter 8. Chapter 8 is starting, that's where you get your commitment. That's signing the contract. I started at the end of the 7-phase marketing strategy so that you know where we were going at with it, and just re-solidifying what Daniel spoke about last week is the 7th phase. You got to have your marketing strategy in place. I played the video so that you can have an idea what the video, how it help you in the area of communicating. Because right now we're in a video age. People will listen to a video more than they'll listen to you speak. So if you can put a 2-minute video in play, and that video is the whole presentation, not pricing, just the presentation, because I have another video for the pricing video. And we're going to cover that next week, is where when I get ready to price them, I play the video first and then I educate them. And when they listen to the video, they say, oh, that's what he's speaking about. Oh, and then when I get ready to help them select the price, they're easily to follow me at that point. They're easily to stay with me in the area of finding the right price for the sell the home at. And they select the right price most of the time to select the right price. And then you give them enough information. Because think about it this way here. Most people that are selling $4, $5, $6 million, $2 million, $3 million homes, they're educated people. And yeah, they're emotional because it's their personal home, but they will listen to reason because they can read the numbers and they know what the home next door sold for, how long it was on the market, what the prices was, the price reductions, because that's your job. And if you do a good enough job flooding them with the information, guess where the objections go? Out of the window. Then you talk about commission strategy. That's wonderful, because if you educate them on the area of paying a fair commission, how it accelerates the sale of their home. And now let's face the fact, guys, you're dealing with the market right now where agents are discounting their commission. That's crazy, but I mean, how can you work for 1%, 2% commission? I can't. I won't. We have too much invested in our business and in our licensing and things we do to work for free. And we're gonna work for free, might as well get a job, because this is our business, and we got to protect our business at all costs. Do you know that getting 6 and 7% commissions is not unusual in this market? But you have to decide which agent you're going to be. Our agent operating out of fear, or educated and trained agent that has their systems and their marketing in place to show your superpower, where it says, I'll hire you. Yeah, I'll pay you 8% if you can do it because they like you.
Kevin, so the one that we can use to make the video is what page? 61?
No, the video actually is the whole seller's presentation.
Which number is that? What page?
Oh, that started way back in chapter number 5. The video goes from 5 all the way through to the end of the book, because this is all listings. The video will be commissions 12. The video 3 minutes go all the way through 13. But if you want to make the video, Daniel is doing videos with people. Yeah, all the way through 13. 5 to 13 is the video.
Is it the entire script broken up?
Yes,
in the book?
it's broken up. The video is actually, the script is broken up into highlights. So when you speak you speak about sections of the selling process. And that's why when they get ready to listen to you, they're like, oh yeah, I heard that before. Now you give it to them in pieces through the presentation. Remember, guys, you don't have to go through all 25 slides to take the listing. You can go through 3. With the video, it'll help you do 2 or 3 of them and just answer the objections that the seller may have, isolate them, then give them the answer, and then go back to the close. Other than that, is there anything that would have you hesitate from listing with me today? And they say no, you pull out the contract. Which price do you feel comfortable with?
Kevin, so the video that you made is the one that you give to the seller at what point?
Well, that video is when I actually meet with the seller. I'm sitting at the table with them. I pull out my tablet or my laptop. I have it with me. I tell them a little about small talk, a little bit about me, how long I've been in business, so forth. And then I say, well, before we get started, I have to go down and show you my marketing video on how I'm going to get your home sold.
Can we rehearse that real quick?
Say again?
Can we rehearse that real quick? From the moment you walk into the house to the moment that you present you get the commitment.
Okay.
Of course, at that time, you already sent the video, right?
Yeah, no, this video is with me at the table. I have another video sent. I have another video where I introduce myself to them. I got 5 videos, so I use them all at different times.
Okay, so let's see, like, I'm the seller, and you come to the door, you make an appointment, and I'll welcome you to my beautiful home.
Great. And then at that point, I'll just go around with you, and we'll just go through the home, and I'll just admire your home.
Let's pretend that real quick. Can we do that?
Actually, we got 3 minutes left to close out, but I'll highlight it for you. We do what we call curb to curb appeal. We go through, we look at the home, give me a tour of your home before I start talking about anything, because I want to emotionally qualify with them. So I want to find things about their home that I can qualify with them. I can talk about this. Oh, I love your drapes. How long you been in the home? Find out about the kids, because what I'm doing here, I'm stacking my ammo. I'm finding out personal things about them, why they want to move, what's the urgency, what's the problem if they don't move, if they don't sell, and all the things that I'm stacking my ammo. So when I have the conversation with them at the table, then I use that stuff to close them with their needs and their so forth. So I do the emotionally qualify with them. Then if I could, I would a sharp angle. Then we're at the point we sit down at the table, and then I start talking about, now you mentioned while we're walking through the home, this is the reason you're moving. If you don't move at this time here, your job, you may lose a job, or your family has to stay here and you have to move there, and all these different things. And I say, great. And I understand these things. Once I understand them, I say, well, before we get started to show you my marketing strategy for selling your home, let me run my video, and I'll just play a video for them. So I talked about me, about my history, my family, and so forth. And then now I connected with them emotionally. And once we start to line up emotionally, right? So I see we in sync, then I go to close them. Once we sync up, it's important to emotionally qualify to sync with them. Once you sync with them, then you start closing them. I play the video. I have my slide presentation on the same computer, and then I'll go through and I may not even touch the slides. It may be just straight conversation. All depends on the customization of the client. If there's a detail-oriented client, I may need to do slides. If they're a visual client, I may need to do something different. If they're auditory, then I may be totally talking to them. But whatever the clients are, it's going to be tailored just for them. Same presentation, but delivered in different strategies. All depends on who I'm speaking with. Okay?
Calvin, do you, Cal,
All right, you're frozen, Michelle. Okay, Michelle is frozen right now. Any other questions, guys?
I got a quick question for you.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I mean,
Calvin, do you give the, do you ask the seller or the client?
You froze, Michelle. Ask me again.
I said, do you ask the seller or the buyer what their preference, how they want the presentation? Or
No,
is that just something to pick up on?
no.
Based
It's
on their preference?
something I pick up on. I analyze them. And one of the things that if you guys may have not done is to understand the disc profile of how to recognize clients, and you can tell who you're working with, and then tailor that conversation for their listening style. It's important.
One other thing that when Danny was on last week, I mentioned to him about us doing making phone calls, having a phone list virtually. He said that you guys may have something coming up like that, where we do a phone list.
Yes, we call that Zoom prospecting calls, where we get them. Everybody got the Zoom like this here, and then we're making phone calls. And if I'm got a call connected, you can unmute me, and then you can listen to what I'm saying, and then everyone.
We can get that going.
Yeah, that's actually really good. We do two teams of 3 people, and it's actually really good. And then people can turn you on, listen to you. Yeah.
I want that. We can do that.
Okay. All right, then we'll make sure we add you into that. Definitely. But that's actually really encouraging. Hearing someone else close, it's good. Okay. All right. Excellent. Mike, you was commenting?
yeah, just a quick question. Well, maybe it's not such a quick question. I don't know, but I did run into this over the summer. They asked me if I always got a signature. I guess I wasn't really understanding the question, but here's the answer. I had a couple of instances during the summer where I got into the presentation discussing with the client as I'm looking throughout the house, that it became clear to me that they weren't ready to list their home anytime in the near future. They were starting the interview process. They wanted to know what I thought their home was worth, what it is I thought that their home needed in order to be prepared to list, but they weren't ready yet to list, probably at least for another 4 months. And in both cases, I didn't get either one of the 2 listings. Obviously, I didn't get a signature because they weren't even interested in signing a contract at that point. They just wanted a realtor to come up to the house, tell them what they thought it was worth, and what they thought needed to be done in order to prepare it for the market. How do you handle that situation once you get in there? Do you just pull up anchor and try to shut things off short? You continue trying to get a signature knowing that it's pretty obvious at this point that they don't want to list their home for another, say, 3 or 4 months. Just if you could, how do you handle something like that?
Well, that's a good question, Mike. Everybody heard Mike was saying that they got a client that wants to meet with a realtor, but they're not ready to sell, and we run into buyers all the time. You would have to nurture them, Mike. I would say that you find out what their needs are. You can give opinions and so forth, but probably what you think is worth. In ballpark, your home could be worth anywhere in this area on any given day. But I couldn't tell you what it works. Your home is only worth as market changes rapidly, rates change all the time, prices change all the time. So if you're not ready to list right now, let's wait till we're closer to the time you're ready to list. But if you're thinking for your home, you could be anywhere. You can give a general, just like Zillow, it's estimate. It's somewhere in this range here, but it's not the actual value of your home. But look at your home here. If you want some suggestions, then you can give them one of your marketing pieces. Like I have a seller's guide. I send them a seller's guide out, and then my seller's guide gives them recommendation things they can do to their home to make it better, to when they get ready to sell it and so forth. But at that point, they say, "Well, great. Well, I know you're not ready. I'm not going to ask the list with them. I know you're not ready, but I would like to stay in touch with you. Just as the market changes, send you the updates on things that's happening. What's your email address?" I say, "Give me your email address." And then I'll put them on my drip campaign, and I'll make sure that I'll give them a phone call once every 2 weeks or so, and just stay in touch with them. And when they come to mind about the listing a property, at that point you'll be top of mind. Send them your monthly market report. Send them changes in the market, like the real estate updates or market updates. You always read intelligent articles all the time, so copy and paste and put them on and drop it to them in the system and have them part of your drip campaign.
Hey Calvin, you know what?
Yeah.
I've taken several listings where we needed a lot of work done on the property, and I was able to take the listing and date it out for the amount of months that we thought that was going to take place. So I still ended up getting the listing. And I wanted to ask you your opinion on putting it in coming soon. So if they want to test the market, one of the ways that I think that they could do that is by putting it on coming soon, and you are coming soon for about 21 days, and then that'll give you get offers during that period, and then during that period that you get the offers, you can go back to the seller and say, you know what, this is what people are willing to pay for your house right now in this market. What do you think about that?
So two things. I think Mike was saying they weren't ready to sign anything, and if you go to coming soon, you'd have to have some type of written agreement, correct, Michelle?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I would dangle that in front of them. You want to test out the market, you're not ready right now. Here's a way that I can show you how to do that. You sign, I put it on coming soon. People will see that. They will send us offers. We don't go live for another, 28 days or so. And so you get a chance to test the market, see what kind of offers you're going to receive. Or the other option, I can date it for 4 months out. Since you're not ready now, we'll date it for 4 months out. Let me know what it is that you need to get taken care of during those 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to, but it's just
Again, that's thinking outside of the box. If the seller would agree to any one of the things, I wouldn't be opposed to any one of them. So if the seller says, "Oh yeah, well we can do that," but they have to select you as being an agent. So if you are there and you've made that connection with them, and you can get that, then absolutely, I would approach that. But the thing is, I want to leave with a commitment. And what you said, what you're doing there, I want to leave with a signature, whatever it takes. Coming soon, hold it off the market. But there's no such thing as a pocket listing. So if you take a listing, it's got to be on MLS. There's no such thing as pocket listings these days. You get someone out of trouble with that. But definitely, you left with the signature, and that's the commitment. And that's what this is all about. Whatever it takes, dancing on your head, whatever it takes, get the commitment.
so if I take the listing and I date it for 4 months down the road, is that considered a pocket listing then?
If it's a signed contract, it's got to be an MLS. So I would say to you is talk with your broker, find out what their guidelines on it, because if it's a listing, it has to be an MLS.
You have 48 hours to put it in.
Yep.
Yeah, but usually on your contract, there is a space in there to say that it is going not to be on the MLS for a certain amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you can put that date in there to correspond with the date that you have on your listing contract 4 months out. So if I just say if they want to list it in February, the MLS portion is also going to have that February date in there. So
Okay.
that's how I've been able to do it in the past, but I don't know if it's different because of COVID right now. But I will talk to my office about it.
Yeah, and then check the MLS guidelines, because I know they have really made some changes about cooperation and sharing the data. And just check with them, because they said don't want the MLS for 4 months. You have to have some paperwork filled out, all kind of paperwork to make sure it's right.
I'll call CRMLS and I'll get it straight from them. And then when I talk to you guys next week, I'll have on the virtual next week, I'll share that information with you guys.
Good. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing that. But that is an option if it's available to do. Again, I try to make sure that we do everything in compliance, because none of us want to get into MLS jail. Yes. So any other questions, guys? And we're about 8 minutes over, so we're gonna end with that. But as you guys know, that I am here available for you guys, and most of you guys have my contact information. And John, I couldn't answer that, but John was on. You know, we use John for the Snap NHD, so he's always available at great pricing. Use him. He's a good guy, team player, always here, always supportive. And his number's inside the chat box. And if you guys want to reach out to me and want to know anything about the company, anything of that nature, let me know. And as you guys know, I'm with eXp Realty. Great company, great plan. And then this is my information. Put it in the chat box for you. If you need to call, text me, any questions, if you need help, I don't have a problem helping anyone.
Thank you, Sensei. We'll see you next week, my friend.
All right. Thank you, guys. And so I just threw it in there for you. Thank you, John, and have a great rest of the week, guys. Sell some houses.
Kevin,
Yes, ma'am.
are you in California or Arizona?
No, I'm in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. And just one more question. Do you remember the name of the lady that was doing the small business loans? I think it's Janica or?
Oh, you're talking about that was not business loans she was doing that I know of.
Business credit.
Business credit.
Yeah.
Her name was Tamari. Not Tamari. I'll give it to you right now. As it is, I'll give it to you right now. It is Jana Wilkerson.
Okay.
Okay. All right. 1 second. But now, did you guys get anything out of today's call?
Very much. Thank you.
Very good. Yeah,
Carry from our upcoming listing presentation.
all right. That's it. Let's make it work. That inside the chat box, I put all the information in, guys.
Thank you, Calvin. As
Thank-
always, I love the class.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Star. And I got my mask. Okay. It came wonderful.
Oh, you like it?
Yep. The masks are good.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm wearing mine everywhere too.
Yep. It's good. Now, mine's a little small for my face, though. That's the only thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. It fits my wife really well.
You need 2 X's on that.
Yeah.
I wear that one.
Look, my ears be like this here.
I have
No,
the same
no.
problem. I have the same problem.
So what I
Give it
did.
to your wife, and I'll tell them to get an extra large one for you.